This is FX Medicine. I'm Andrew Whitfield Cook, and we're at the United in Compassion Symposium in Melbourne, Australia, 2017. I'm sitting here with my dear friend Justin Sinclair, who I have the utmost respect for and reverence for, I've got to say, with your dedication to medicinal cannabis. And it's not just medicinal cannabis, it's the patients in need. So I've got to say, from the outset, what's been the benefit of the United in Compassion conference?
Oh, look, I think the symposium has been, there's so many levels, but first, international experts, leading experts, being able to come over here, tell us what they're doing in areas like PTSD and phytochemical analysis, in safety, in all of these different areas, in pain management, in nausea. So it's actually these experts coming to us, sharing in an open, non-protective, just this open sharing of science to further humanity. It's not just about, this is what we're doing in Israel or this is what we do in Canada. It's actually, this is what we're doing, this is what's worked, this is what's not. You guys are developing, try not to make the same mistakes we have. And so this open collaborative environment, I think, is absolutely essential to push medicinal cannabis forward from a humanitarian, from an effective therapeutic aspect as well. So on that level, I think that's been fantastic. All of these experts, I mean, Sue Sisley's talk on PTSD.
And her research will be in Open Commons?
Indeed, I know. I mean, just outstanding.
How rare is that?
Dr. Deddy and his technology and his units, for phytochemical analysis. I mean, there's been just some amazing talks. Dr. Gerdeman's talk on the endocannabinoid system and the finer details about it. So you're getting just this content expert that we just don't have access to. And the other thing too is that even though we do have access to it through the journals and the literature, it's presented to you in such by the people that did the research in such a palatable way. So even if you don't have that a PhD in neuro or whatever, they break it down for you. So that's great. We've had regulators here, which is a big one. So, Bill's come along. Pity the TGA didn't, but that's okay. But, because Bill's been able to handle a lot of that. So what's been great about that, I find, over other symposiums, this is only my personal opinion though, is that what we've had is open and frank discussion, and I think that discussion has been a little bit more respectful than it has in other areas. Instead of just getting the crowd that jumps up and screams and shouts, we're trying to understand that with open and frank dialogue, with the government, with state and territory, because there's been quite a few of them, reps that have come too, is that we can have that frank and open discussion to actually identify obstacles and try and work out solutions. And flinging mud at each other is never a way to solve anything. It's just, this is my problem, how can we solve it? These are the amount of people that this affects, let's do something about it. So that's been actually quite encouraging on that level. And I think just bringing industry in as well has been important, because it is a fledgling industry in Australia, just developing, just starting, and understanding that industry has to be a part of science moving forward, because they're going to be the ones that are going to be hopefully utilizing science to forward the therapeutic application of medicinal cannabis. And so whether it's cultivation, whether it's genetics, whether it's manufacturing, whatever it is, the industry moving into this space has to keep up with the science, has to move with us, and hopefully also support what we're all about, which is patient access. And so that's been a big push, of course, the patient access, having all of the politicians that have given of their time, so Richard Di Natale, all of the, and other experts like Mick Palmer, and all of these people that have been working in the shadows, making sure that things happen, coming along for all of this ride, and making, giving of their time. Even Bill, I mean, he could have showed up and
this is Bill Turner,
yeah, Bill
Office of Drug Control.
Yeah, so he could have just come, done his gig, gone. But he stayed the whole time. So, I mean, that's really respectful, and I think everyone needs to acknowledge and
give him kudos. Yeah.
Give him kudos for that, definitely. So I think that's from the symposium point of view. There's a lot of different factors, but bringing everyone together, open, frank discussion, being able to push advocacy forward, push science forward, but particularly open science, collaborations, forming collaborations with international and national research partners. This is really where we need to go, I think, from a humanitarian point of view, because protective science and guarding science, you're not spreading the word, and yeah, that I think is crucial.
There was a few people that tugged at my heartstrings, and Sue Sisley, I was so impressed when she said this is open commons, everything will be shared.
Amazing.
There won't be any suppression of material, it will be what it will be. I spoke to Leah Biziani, a nurse who's dealt with dementia and aged care, that sort of thing, and her very powerful words that it is so inappropriate for medicine to have to leave anybody with an issue of pain in their ever, but particularly in her expertise in the twilight years. It is inappropriate medically to leave that, and medical cannabis leaves that option. One of the big messages that has come out for me is the need for every GP specialist, every medical professional, as a duty of care to know about medicinal cannabis, regardless of whether you want to or not prescribe. It is your duty of care to be educated about it rather than having your preconceived ideas, your assertions versus the evidence, whatever you think they may be, and especially looking at what you think is some headline of it's bad, because they very often don't turn out to be true when you look at the evidence.
Absolutely.
And so the call for education, and that is now being worked on.
It is. I mean, look, we had the privilege of Dr. David Caldecott, who's on the UIC. I know he's an absolute legend. On the UIC Scientific Advisory Board, has been for quite some time. He's been working in tandem to try and get this course up, and the lion's share of that work has been on his shoulders. And he presented a full-day course on Thursday, which was well attended by medicos and also nurses. That's just another jump point. I mean, when we talk about doctors, yes, they're going to be the prescribers, but the reality is that nurses also need to have training in this field. So, and kudos to them. We need to develop training courses for them, which will slightly maybe look a little bit different, but they still need to be there because of interactions and safety and all those types of things. But every single person, particularly, Bastian from the Royal Australian College of GPs, said what is one of the most important things we can do? Well, education. Bill said that, everyone has been touting about it. So that's obviously another amazing output from the symposium, is just that we need to get these education programs out. They need to be done in such a way that they're clinically useful for the doctors, or clinically useful for the nurses, or it can't just be, yes, we want you to do all of the education and understand the endocannabinoid system and things, but these are busy clinicians. We have to do it in such a way that maybe some of it could be obtained online, they can do it in their own space, but when you really need the technical expertise, you can come in and get it from the experts in a digestible format that helps them in clinical practice. So education's absolutely key. We are definitely working on collaboration with various colleges and groups to get that up and running and have a bit of a roadshow around Australia.
Great.
It's just got to be done. Yep.
So, research, where are we headed?
Well, that's
What's happening now?
Look, research is always going on. That's why we love the symposium, because we've got people coming from all over the world, sharing, again, that kind of open science. And I think we've been really lucky because, I attend here as part of UIC, but also I was here as part of NICM, so the National Institute of Complementary Medicine, which is housed at Western Sydney Uni, and I've been blessed with some amazing professors over there that have honoured me with a research fellow, to be a research fellow, and so we've worked together to put together the Australian Medicinal Cannabis Research and Education collaboration. And so, it's not a centre or anything like that. It's actually to promote collaboration between other national academic institutions, international academic institutions, individual researchers, industry, so that we can build this network within Australia and internationally, just to push evidence-based practice, evidence-based science, even preclinical, everything, everything from basically cultivation all the way through to a finished product and a clinical trial. That's what we're interested in. And so everyone has their individual interests and skill sets, and that's how we're going to move things forward, I think, greatly. So yeah, it's been a real privilege to meet with so many researchers, to hopefully collaborate on some research projects. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty bright future, I think, for this plant.
And I've got to say, all of this is because of one family, the power of the lady called Lucy Haslam.
I know, it's insane. And
one family's story.
Yeah, and Lucy and Lou and all of her family. I mean, I think all of us at UIC kind of feel like Lucy's mum in a way, but it's also everyone else. I mean, you've got the Weeded Warriors that spoke earlier today. They're a huge advocacy group. You've got Lene Carter and the Medicinal Cannabis Advisory Group in Queensland, so important for lobbying for the Category A and disallowance. So it's really a group effort. I mean, whilst most of us, UIC has led the way in a lot of ways, it's very tiring. And where people can contribute, it doesn't have to be financial. It can just be, how can I help? Because every single person that works in this space patient advocacy particularly is volunteer. You know, we're not making money out of this, and anyone that, you know, casts assertions that we are is just ignorant. So we really need to work together. It's a people's movement. You know, even if it's something like you're really good at IT or you're great at social media, just give us a call, you know, because God, we could use that. And it's not just about, you know, the high-level experts and researchers and things like that. It's just about normal, everyday people that want to feel like they can contribute. Give us a call. We'd love to hear.
And when you think about everyday people making a difference, to put on a show like this with world-class experts, I mean, that's something. So kudos to Lucy and all of the team at UIC, and thank you so much for joining us on
again,
FX Medicine.
once a big one is just thanks so much for taking the time out of your busy, you know, weekends. This is time that you could have spent with family, with friends, and things like that. No, but to come down and just give of your time to help us promulgate the message and all that kind of stuff.
That is my honour.
Yeah, thanks very much as always, mate. There we go.
Justin Sinclair, thanks so much for joining us on FX Medicine.
Always a pleasure, mate. Don't tear up.
This is FX Medicine. I'm Andrew Whitfield Cook, and I am tearing up.